Officials confirm the son of Mexican drug lord El Chapo was among a group of people kidnapped.
August 15th, 2016, 1 a.m., Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. 5 vehicles had been abandoned outside the restaurant, one with false registration, and that all of those involved, kidnappers and kidnapped, appeared to be members of rival criminal organizations. He confirmed the dominant criminal group in Jalisco, CJNG, was the prime suspect without saying their name directly. A reporter asked him to confirm it. He did. Mexican Army, Marines, Federal Police, State Police, and the country's top prosecution office were all mobilized simultaneously. The search operation covered Jalisco and neighboring states. Tourism Board released a statement calling it an isolated incident. The governor of Jalisco went on Twitter to reassure residents and tourists. None of it mattered. The story was already everywhere. By August 16th, the identity of the captives had been confirmed through surveillance footage, fingerprints, and identification documents found in the abandoned vehicles. Several of the men had been carrying false IDs, which initially slowed down the process. Jesus Alfredo Guzman Salazar, 29 years old, the youngest son from El Chapo's first marriage, confirmed kidnapped. Ivan Archivaldo, confirmed kidnapped. The others were identified as Juan Daniel Calva-Tapia, Josias Nahujali Rabago Borboya, and Victor Galvan Ureña, all with ties to the Sinaloa operation. No ransom demand had been issued, no contact from the kidnappers. That told investigators everything they needed to know. This wasn't about money. Meanwhile, inside a maximum security prison in Ciudad Juarez, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was getting the worst phone call a parent can receive. His sons were gone, and there was nothing he could do about it from a cell. Or so it seemed. Here's what really went down behind closed doors, and this is the part most people don't know. The DEA's account of the original plan is chilling. A source inside the investigation told Rolling Stone explicitly, the plan was to kill them. CJNG was going to take the brothers, extract whatever information or confessions they wanted on camera, and then execute them. El Chapo's sons were supposed to end up in the ground on El Mencho's turf, a message to every cartel in Mexico about what CJNG was willing to do and what Sinaloa had become without its leader. But something changed. First, El Chapo himself, despite being in a maximum security prison with no direct access to the outside world, started activating contacts. The man had been running a global drug empire from inside prison walls twice before. His network was so deep that even with enhanced restrictions, he was getting messages out. According to accounts from El Minilis, El Chapo communicated from prison and initiated pressure on multiple levels to get his sons released. Second, and this is where it gets wild, El Chapo found leverage. His bodyguard, Ivan Gastelum, known as El Cholo, was locked in the same prison as El Mencho's own son, Ruben Oseguera Gonzalez, alias El Menchito. El Menchito had been in Mexican custody since 2015. El Chapo, according to reports, used the threat that El Menchito could be harmed, or worse, as direct leverage in the negotiations. The message sent to El Mencho was essentially, I will return your sons as you return mine. Father, using his imprisoned son as a card to play for the release of his own imprisoned sons. That's the level this was operating at. Third, El Mayo stepped in. Ismael El Mayo Zambada, El Chapo's longtime co-leader of the Sinaloa cartel, the quiet, methodical figure who had been operating in the shadows while Chapo got all the attention, began mediating. El Mayo had connections everywhere. He reached out to CJNG. He sat at the center of a negotiation that, if it failed, would have triggered the most catastrophic cartel war Mexico had seen in a decade. The negotiation lasted about a week. On Saturday, August 22nd, 7 days after the kidnapping, Jesus Alfredo and Ivan Archivaldo Guzman were released unharmed in Sinaloa, their home state. A high-ranking source inside the Mexican government confirmed it. A source close to the family confirmed it. Journalist Annabel Hernandez, who had sources embedded inside the Guzman family, confirmed it. The deal, according to the DEA source quoted in Rolling Stone, included $2 million and a large quantity of narcotics paid to CJNG. But the source was clear. Mencho didn't need the money. This was ceremonial, a ransom payment as symbolism, not substance. What El Mencho actually got out of this? Something more valuable than cash. He got a message received by every player in the Mexican underworld. Your father is locked up. Your bodyguard stood down. You were sitting in my territory eating birthday cake, and I walked right in and took you without firing a single shot. You are not untouchable." The Rolling Stone DEA source put it plainly. He was sending a message. Your old man is locked up now. Don't think you're untouchable. From Cancun to California, the underworld heard it loud and clear. But that's not even the crazy part. The kidnapping cracked something inside the Sinaloa cartel that never fully healed, and the fracture ran right through the man who had helped set the whole thing up. After Los Chapitos were released, El Chapo sent a letter from prison, addressed to Damaso Lopez, his old friend, the man he trusted. The letter reportedly outlined a power-sharing arrangement. El Licenciado would maintain his role, but equally alongside the sons. "I ask that you walk together on everything," El Chapo reportedly wrote. "You and my 4 sons." El Licenciado didn't want equal. He wanted the throne. Behind the scenes, he kept his alliance with CJNG going. He started a disinformation campaign, hiring hackers to run social media operations that made Los Chapitos look like DEA informants, flooding Mexican crime blogs with fake stories about the brothers to turn the underworld against them. He was trying to get the government to crack down on them while he maneuvered for control. Then in February 2017, Los Chapitos say they got word that Damaso wanted to meet, a sit-down, clear the air about his involvement in the kidnapping, settle things properly. The brothers showed up. El Licenciado wasn't there. His sicarios were. According to a letter that Ivan and Alfredo later sent to journalists, the ambush was set with the intent to kill them and El Mayo simultaneously. It failed. The brothers escaped on foot through the mountains, wounded. El Mayo was also reportedly wounded in the attack. That was the end of El Licenciado's run. The cartel turned on him hard. May 2nd, 2017, 3 months after the failed ambush, Mexican federal forces captured Damaso Lopez Núñez in an apartment in Mexico City. They found him through a hacker that Damaso himself had hired, who secretly filmed him with a spy app on a cell phone and passed the footage to authorities. He was extradited to the United States, pleaded guilty to drug trafficking, and became one of the key witnesses against El Chapo in the 2019 Brooklyn federal trial. His son, El Minilis, surrendered to U.S. authorities at the border in July 2017, 6 months after the botched ambush. He walked up to the Calexico port of entry and turned himself in. The Department of Justice called it unprecedented, the voluntary surrender of a high-ranking Mexican cartel leader. He cooperated fully and ended up in witness protection outside Los Angeles, where he later gave the Vice News interview that remains one of the most detailed inside accounts of what actually happened that week in August 2016. Let's zoom out and look at what this kidnapping actually did to the map of power in Mexico. Before August 15, 2016, the conventional thinking went like this. Sinaloa was the biggest dog. CJNG was the fast-rising challenger. The two would eventually clash, but Sinaloa still had enough legacy, infrastructure, and territorial presence to hold the top spot. After August 15, 2016, that calculation was over. CJNG walked into Sinaloa's vacation spot, took their heirs, held them for a week, and released them on their own terms. The message wasn't just symbolic, it was operational. If CJNG could get to El Chapo's sons in the middle of a party with 16 bodyguards, what couldn't they get to? DEA data reflects what happened next. tell the story of modern Mexico, modern drug trafficking, or the modern